Hello, everybody. Welcome. How are you? Welcome back to the pre-launch show for Butts and Seats 2. Oh my gosh, have we got some amazing things lined up for tonight's video. Oh, excitement. Please join. Please watch the replay. This is going to be great. Okay, first off, welcome. This is your official welcome to the pre-launch celebration for Butts and Seats 2, turn your holistic side hustle into a successful local business. I am here with my co-author and lovely wife, Kyra Schaefer. There she is, right on cue. Welcome.
Woo-hoo! I did it right.
Beautiful. Kyra, by the way, did you know that the video that we did last Thursday was so nutrient dense with business gold nuggets that we both shared that it received almost 400 views?
I did not know that.
That's like a record for me.
That's incredible. Let's do that again.
Let's do it again. Oh, yeah, we're going to do it. I've invited a lot of people.
I did it again.
Oops, I did it again. All right. So if you are out there, boy, we got so much information. This is going to be awesome. We want to thank every one of you who has joined the book launch group on Facebook and for taking the time to read our book and post your Amazon review on September 17th. Yay!
Yay!
September 17th is just 5 days away. It is this coming Tuesday. So many of you watching don't know Kyra and me, but we are definitely excited to get to know you. And guess what, Kyra? We have a special guest today.
Oh, yes, we do.
Before I announce her, I want to do a couple of brief announcements.
Okay.
Book launch day is right around the corner. Remember, this Tuesday, September 17th. On that day, go download the ebook for free on Amazon so that you have a verified purchase, okay? Then post your honest review of the book on Amazon. We're going to provide you with the link to the book on Amazon on September 17th, okay? We don't want you to have it sooner because we want all the reviews posted on September 17th. So you can download that free ebook anytime during the promotional period, which is September 17th through the 21st, to create your verified purchase, which ensures that your Amazon review will be counted. Okay, we prefer September 17th, but you have up to the 21st. And thank you all again so much for reading the book and writing and posting your reviews. Again, we're going to post the link in the comments here for where to access the book, which includes instructions on how to write an Amazon book review if you need some help with that, as well as where you will access the link on September 17th. I am going to post that in the Butts and Seats launch group as a comment to this video right now as we're going, just so you have a little bit of a timestamp, okay? So there's that. Number 2, signed author copies are available now as pre-orders. Yay!
Yay!
You can get a signed copy of Butts and Seats 2 by the authors, me and Kyra Schaefer, or get signed copies of all of our business books for HBOs. And you also have a chance to coach with me virtually one-on-one to help you grow your business. So to do all of that, go to the link that I am going to post in the comments right now. So you have a timestamp. And that is in the Butts and Seats book launch group as a comment there. Next announcement. Kyra, did you know that we have a free gift for HBOs?
Is that right?
We sure do. Right now, you can download the free quick start guide for HBOs. We're offering a free worksheet to help holistic business owners kickstart their success in their businesses. This worksheet is packed with practical exercises and reflection prompts. It's the perfect tool to get you on track. You can access that worksheet in the post I made on Tuesday of this week. And I will also put a link in the comments right now so you can access that post and download that worksheet.
And this is in the Butts and Seats 2 group, launch group, right?
All of these links I'm commenting are in the Butts and Seats 2 book launch group. That's right.
Remind me, is that launch group public or private?
Oh, it's public. It's public because there's only 65
I'll put the link in the regular comments then for the Butts and Seats launch group.
Yes, do whatever you feel we should do. Yeah.
Okay.
But this is the most appropriate place that I have handy is the launch group itself. But yeah, I figured I wouldn't try to post to like all the places we're broadcasting while we're broadcasting,
It's gotcha.
Next announcement and final announcement, number 4, to the viewers. Did you know that Kyra and I are not only authors, but also book publishers? We co-founded As You Wish Publishing in 2018. We're a family-owned publishing company that helps new authors professionally self-publish their books. Also ranking them to Amazon bestseller status and getting them listed in Barnes & Noble. So if you have a solo author book in you to publish, or if you want to write a chapter with other authors in one of our collaboration books, visit us at asyouwishpublishing.com. Right now, registration is open for our next book, Synchronicity, Exploring Meaningful Paths of Connection. Have you ever experienced synchronicity in your life? Big or small? Share your story with us in a chapter written by you alongside other new authors' stories in our next collaboration book. Okay, I'm going to put a link in the comments right now. It's asyouwishpublishing.com/we write. And with that, I think we're ready to introduce our next, our only,
our next and only,
our next and only guest tonight. Someone who I think is a pretty amazing woman who wrote the foreword for Butts and Seats 2. Tonight we have the amazing Dr. Sally Nazari. Welcome, Dr. Sally.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the warm welcome.
You are welcome. You are welcome, and you're welcome for the warm welcome. Let me share with you all how amazing Dr. Sally is and why I sought her out to write the foreword for Butts and Seats 2, in case you don't know who she is. Dr. Sally Nazari, you can find her at www.drsallynazari.com. Also, sallymalik.com. Sally is a licensed psychologist offering an integrative psycho-spiritual practice in the USA. Following her attainment of a doctoral degree in clinical psychology with distinction, she went on to train as a spiritual practitioner before becoming a certified spiritual advisor. Dr. Nazari completed training in somatic modalities, 500-hour registered yoga teacher, and 200-hour certified meditation instructor to complete the triad of experience in mind, body, spirit approaches, modalities. Dr. Nazari also holds a passion for sharing psychological resources, focusing on integrating empirically supported treatment and holistic approaches, which she has done at a number of different settings throughout the USA. She's also been invited to author multiple publications in peer-reviewed journals and professional presentations, as well as into leadership positions within international professional organizations. Dr. Nazari has also been a sought-out featured speaker trainer in such facilities as the New York Presbyterian Hospital, Helen Hayes Hospital, the Good Samaritan Hospital, and law enforcement communities and school districts on a variety of topics. Her distinctive approach and expertise have been sought out to consult on unique psycho-spiritual cases and settings. Occasionally, she's a topic expert within the goodtherapy.org community and has been featured in multiple media outlets. She's also authored several international bestsellers. Dr. Nazari's passion for sharing psychological resources and tools also led to her dedication to hosting and broadcasting a podcast. Wow, that is an amazing bio.
You guys make me sound good, so thank you for that.
It's pretty easy.
You're very kind.
Yeah, Sally, I mean, we talked about this before in our last interview that we did in our other group, the As You Write community a couple of weeks ago. how you have your foot in both worlds. You've got a lot of holistic training, and you've got also a traditional training and licensure. And you're a living example of somebody who uses both approaches, whereas a lot of people might do one or the other, but you've chosen to do both and integrate them. And you've gone so far with both of them. And that is such a huge blessing. And we need so many more people to do what you've done to help bridge that gap and to legitimize both approaches to each other, actually, right? To have more cohesion happening, right? And less opposition, more integration. So thank you for being that awesome example. And it's been a complete honor to have you write the foreword for Butts and Seats too, because it is a holistic, I don't have your background. I've got more of a holistic background. But we want to help holistic practitioners to be seen as more legitimate. And the best way to help them to be seen as more legitimate is for them to really own what they do and to beef up their own business skills, taking themselves seriously for one, and also positioning themselves as professional business owners, and then extending those things, their services to the public and helping people, right? So they have to step up. That's part one. They do have to step up themselves, and then also put themselves out there, because people, HBOs do not have the training that you have when it comes to dealing with clients. They just have the certifications in most cases. And hell, all of us don't have the business skills, so unless you have an MBA. So we all need help with the business skills, but we also have to keep putting ourselves out there. And that's why I'm passionate about writing these books, is to help HBOs to level themselves up if they're wanting to do that and be that example in their community. So thank you.
Oh, that's so kind. And it really touches my heart. I think you use such a great word here. You talked about the cohesion rather than each of these pieces being demarcated from each other and disjointed, because we don't show up just as the business version of ourselves, and we don't show up just as the technician doing the work, right? So that cohesion is so key. All of the pieces of ourselves come forward. And that idea of just leveling ourselves up, we have to really step into that. And it was such an honor for me. I have to thank you guys for creating a safe space so that we can band together as a community and a tribe. So thank you so much for making it possible for myself and other HBOs to just sort of have this support, this connection, and this space.
Thank you. Thank you. That's definitely one of the things we try to do. So I thank you for seeing that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what's next. Before we dive into the questions, we do have a bunch of several questions that we're actually going to be asking each other. So this is really going to be fun. We got a lot of gold nuggets we're going to share with you guys, for those of you watching. And apparently we did a pretty good job last time, because we had almost 400 views on last week's video that Kyra and I did. So
you guys did a great job. I was watching really that. Fun. And if you guys haven't, those of you that are watching today, definitely go back and add to that 400, because it was a wonderful, wonderful video.
Thank you. We like to give as much value as possible in giving back. So before I get into the questions, Sally, is there anything that you have going on that you want to promote or share with anyone? Would you like to share anything?
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you for that. We talked a little bit a couple of weeks ago about just how powerful the mindfulness chapter was in one of the more recent publications you guys had. It might have been the last one. I'm not sure if you guys had one in between, but the Finding Your Path book, a lot of people asked me to talk more about mindfulness. So I actually have 2 programs running. Well, one will be launching in just a couple of weeks, and one just got started this week. So thank you, Todd, for asking about that. I do have just a self-paced online course, and I've decided to add to that since we last talked about it, with now coming in once a month for a group coaching to offer and sort of to accompany the self-paced course. So it is a 5-module course going through mindfulness, what it means, debunking all the myths that are out there. Because unfortunately there are many, and I've been hearing them for years now, in the last couple of weeks especially. But it's a really good opportunity to just dip your toe in and start getting a sense of how impactful it can be in our lives. And I think especially as business owners, and especially as holistically minded business owners, where we are coming from that heart-centered space, it can be really impactful for us to start learning to tune in without judgment and just observe what's happening for us, and to take those moments, those opportunities to just kind of pause and settle ourselves so that we can make better decisions about how to move forward. So I'm really actually very excited about the Silence and Serenity program. So, if it's something you wanted to just kind of try out after hearing about mindfulness, I definitely recommend it. And the exciting thing about it is not only will we have the monthly group coaching available so we can do some guided pieces, but you can pick up the longer version that'll launch in November, and that'll be much more in depth, much more comprehensive. I'll be involved twice a week with everybody taking that. So I'm delighted to share that with you guys. And for this community, we can use the code BUTS2.
I love it.
I'll even honor Tushy if you wanted to go that route.
Tushy.
And it's the number 2,
cute.
is that right?
Exactly, the number 2. And that'll be a 15% discount for you guys.
Oh, that's incredible.
Awesome.
Do we have that link we can put in the comments here?
Yes, I will send it to you.
You can put it in the
What
private
a great
chat if you want.
thing to offer to people who watch this video.
Wonderful gift.
Thank you. I'm delighted to share.
Here it
All
is.
right, got it.
I will put it in the comments on where I've been putting the other ones, and Kyra will take care of the other places.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's get into the questions. 20 minutes have already flown right by.
I have a question really quick. For BUTS2, is it all caps? Or is it lower and upper? Does it matter?
Case
It
sensitive?
doesn't matter.
No, not case
Butts
sensitive.
and seats, like at all shapes and sizes, right? So
That's right. BUTS2.
BUTS2. I love it. Thank you. What a wonderful gift for people.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. I always tell people, if you get a chance to spend time with Sally, do it. Do it.
Aw,
She knows what she's doing. Follow her lead.
that is so sweet. Thank you.
All right. We're going to get into the questions that we're going to have a trio interview back and forth, asking each other about really cool questions about butts and seats, and providing some value to the listeners here, the viewers. And I believe Kyra starts with the first question.
I do. Todd, as the primary author of Butts and Seats 2, you've poured a lot of your personal growth and insights into this book. From your perspective, what do you think is the biggest mindset shift someone needs to make after reading this?
The biggest mindset shift I think someone needs to make after reading Butts and Seeds 2 is to take it one step at a time, stay consistent, and think long term. So I guess that's three things, but I could solidify it into one thing. And that's just be consistent, right? And be consistent with taking action. You already have what it takes as an HBO. You have talent, right? You have your practitioner training. And now with Butts and Seeds too, you have proven practices, business practices to back that up. This book is a great start. It'll help you to get clients now and give you the foundation that you need to build something that lasts. So, but you do have to own what you do, and you do have to commit to putting it into action, even on the days when you don't feel like it, right? We all have books sitting around with great things that we read once upon a time that we are not putting into action, right? Or maybe we have a gym membership that we have that we're not using, right? You have to put the ideas into action, even when you don't feel like it. So it's like going to the gym. If you don't show up, you don't get the results. You can go to the gym or work on your business as little or as often as you want, but without consistency, you won't see growth. All right. And on that note, any HBO who has been consistent in their business for years will agree with me that consistency works, right? Yes, you're going to experience ups and downs, but you're going to learn and you're going to grow through them. And you know by now, hopefully, that there are no quick fixes, right? You keep following through and you'll not only get better, but you'll also become savvier about producing better returns for yourself. You're going to discover new strengths that you didn't even know you had along the way. But that only happens if you take consistent action, right? So develop the habit, stick with it, and watch what happens. Stay consistent. That's my gold nugget.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome, Kyra.
Consistency.
It's such a good point, and I think a key thing here is consistent action, even though you don't feel like it, right? So I really like that you're emphasizing that, right? Because so often when we're starting a new venture, we can get fearful. And Todd, I think you're really speaking to that in that response, that as long as we commit to that, it doesn't matter if we're fearful, we're following through on that, and that habit starts to cycle on itself.
Yeah.
So nicely stated.
Thank you. And you, and same to you. All right. I think Sally has the next question.
Kyra?
Yes?
Since you specialize in networking and relationship building, which is such a crucial aspect of holistic businesses, what's the most exciting result you hope people will achieve by applying the strategies in the book?
Well, I hope that it'll help them build their confidence, get clear on their message. I think that that's one of the hardest things to do when we're first starting out as practitioners, HBOs, unless you go to like a place that actually teaches that. So many organizations where you're looking at certifications, life coaching, other things, even in some cases chiropractic, and you might even know this in your field, different fields of study as well, is that they often miss that whole piece of how to market, how to connect, how to build relationships. And Butts and Seats fills that gap, in our education, our learning about how things work and how we can rely on each other in a community and have multiple marketing managers out there in the world for us. And so the main thing is, like I said, we also get really clear on our message and what we're wanting to achieve with the business that we have, so it's just a different mindset. So if I'm going to a networking meeting and they've got insurance people, they've got car salesmen, they've got plumbers, they've got pool cleaners, they've got, all that kind of stuff. What I've noticed is that they need help just like anyone else, but I have to know how to speak to someone who may not know what hypnotherapy is beyond clucking like a chicken or being on stage. And so you get really clear about who you're helping. And so for an example, instead of saying, I'm a hypnotherapist and you come to my office and you lay down and you're relaxed and I will, help put you into a peaceful place where I speak to your subconscious mind, right? That's what you do, right? But that doesn't mean anything to the plumber, you know?
Absolutely.
Instead, you learn how to speak to the plumber and you say, has your wife been having a hard time lately? You know, has she been feeling stressed? Has she been feeling down? Has she been trying to work through these feelings or emotions that she's been having? Have you been noticing that in her lately? And you're not quite sure what to do about that? Or have you yourself been struggling with anxiety and you never seem to know who to turn to for it? And you might not even realize that what you're experiencing is anxiety. You know, and so you've just been feeling this heart palpitation or this, you know, discomfort, or, you know, suddenly you're going to get on an airplane and travel and you just start to feel uncomfortable and you don't want that feeling anymore. I want to help you with that. Right. See how that's completely different. We're answering the problem. So to me, when we network, the big takeaway is most definitely, how do I speak about what I do? And how do I present myself so that anyone can understand it, can see themselves in my work? Because there have been, I mean, I don't know how many countless people that I've worked with, business owners, HBOs in the past. And like, I just don't know how to say what I do. And it's like, you don't have to say what you do. You have to tell them what solution you bring. And then they get to decide if it's the right thing for them. So that would be my big exciting thing, because that's very exciting. When that popped off, I was like, oh my God, I finally understand what strategic partnerships are and what referral partners are, and how I don't have to just sell to this person in front of me. I want to know their cousin's nephew's brother, you know, who, whatever, I don't know, that doesn't even make sense, has been struggling with anxiety. You know? So that's my big exciting thing, I think.
I love that. That is so powerful. And honestly, if that's the only thing people take away, what a big transformation, you know. And I love the point you're making too about marketing, like, gets this bad rap, but I love marketing because it is an opportunity to communicate the impact that we can bring. It's an opportunity to build those relationships where now people can be so excited, not about what you do or how you're going about it, but what you're offering for them in their lives. You spoke to that beautifully.
Thank you. But yeah, we don't get taught that. So I think that we'll fill that space for sure. Todd, I believe you have a question.
I do. And I also wanted to add that our friend Rena was trying to comment through her mobile, and her comments weren't coming through, she said.
They are coming. She was on the wrong video.
Oh, okay.
She's not seeing our video right now. I made some comments on her comments. That's what I was doing behind the scenes.
Okay. Yeah, I was commenting to her as well. Okay. All right, Rena,
she
if you're
just
watching,
needs to refresh her screen or come over to my profile and she'll see the new video.
There you go.
Anyway, so I'll say, we got it? Okay.
Yeah. So I think we're on me, right?
You.
Next question, Sally.
Yes.
As both a licensed psychologist and holistic business owner, you have a unique understanding of how confidence plays a role in success. How do you envision Butts and Seats 2 helping someone to feel more confident in their business?
Thank you for that. And I think this is a really important question. So I want to thank you guys for it. And also, we've started talking a little bit about confidence. So I'll do a bit of a spoiler alert while I answer this. And if I were to say one word, do we all remember geometry? The word that comes to mind is congruence, right?
Yeah,
we looked at like congruent triangles. Are they the same? And the reason I'm saying that is because when we think of confidence, we often think of the idea of trust and reliability, one thing that contributes to a greater trust, reliability, and ultimately confidence for us is when there's a small gap between what we want to do and what we do. Right. So keeping promises to ourselves, following through on the excuse me, actions we want to deliver on. That's what I mean by the idea of congruence. Okay. So the funny thing is that fear can often keep us from taking action or acting in ways that don't really align with our values, or they're incongruent with our values, or the objectives that we have. And I think the other piece here is that, as people read the book, it's pretty clear you guys have been through it and get it, right? Get this journey of being an HBO. So there's an easier sense of trust and reliability in the words and guidance that you're offering. In particular, the comprehensiveness of that internal journey that we take as business owners, and especially as spiritual practitioners as well. Now, layer the two together and they're compounded. So that names it and it owns it and ultimately makes it empowering for us. So it lowers the activation energy it takes to start making those incremental steps on that roadmap. And that's nicely outlined in the book, right? So it builds trust in the process. And when we're lacking that trust and confidence in ourselves, we actually look for it outwardly, right? And so if you guys have been on the same road that I've been on, I can trust what's gone on for you to be similar to what goes on for me. And then you also talked about the importance of feedback as well. And feedback can really be powerful. I know a lot of us cringe when we think about that, but it can offer us, I know sometimes it's just like, oh no, do I really have to? But what an opportunity to debunk the myths that we have about ourselves, right? Our capabilities, our limitations. It can also give us an opportunity to make clear observations about what we do need to alter for that greater congruence, instead of just this amorphous and all encompassing, no, I can't do that, or I'm not good enough, or I don't have what it takes, which is a narrative that many of us have, but we can't really pinpoint in a tangible way, right? We're not really sure how that's true, but it just is. So having feedback can, first of all, break those myths out of our little narratives here, but it can also give us concrete ways that we can make changes so that we start to bridge that gap between where we want to be and where we think we are, where we feel we might be. And the last bit that I really loved, I think can be so powerful for us in terms of confidence, but it doesn't get a whole lot of airtime. So I really appreciated that this was an aspect that's been discussed in the book in several ways, is the element of boundaries. And you guys talked about this last week in your interview together as well. I really like the idea that boundaries help us to keep people in our lives. And I often say that setting limits and boundaries can sometimes be the most loving, the most heart-centered thing we can do. And that's true of our businesses as well. So boundaries can go a long way in allowing us to step into our confidence, first with the idea of seeing that we can hold them and that they can actually enhance our interactions, and we all feel better. Like we're still okay, even though I've set this limit. That can add to that sense of trust in ourselves, ultimately bringing on that greater confidence. But I think some of the most powerful boundaries we can set are those that we set with ourselves. So this will be an opportunity to, going back to your initial response as we were getting started, Todd, that sense of making that promise to be consistent and honoring that boundary of, even if I don't feel like it, I'm still going to show up in this way.
I'm just My heart opens up every time you talk.
Uh,
Here, my heart is like, "Ooh."
I don't know if I'm getting an oxytocin hit from her tone of voice and delivery, or the fact that she's speaking about themes that are so important to me.
Yeah.
And that I care a lot about, and I think are very important to HBOs, to hear someone like Sally with all of her training reinforce all of that feels very well. It feels validating for one. It feels really good to hear that coming back from another expert, a different expert, to say, yeah, these things are very, very important for HBOs, and I'm totally all about the boundaries too. I wrote an entire book about boundaries.
Leading versus leading.
Leading
Yeah.
versus leading. Is that backwards, by the way? Or is it forwards? Can you read it?
I can read it. I think it's forward.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's forward. Okay, for me, it's backwards on my screen. But if you can read it, that's the most important thing.
Well, thank you guys for that.
Yeah.
Those are incredibly kind words. But what I want to also say is everything you just said, with hearing the comments I made, that's what you guys are offering in this book. That's what you guys offer to your community. And, reading through, every single piece of both of your hearts was in this, right? So I say that on the heels of that question about confidence. If you need any further sense of just assurance, and like someone gets it and someone's kind of figured out how to walk through, even if they don't have all the answers, this is what you want to pick up. So Tuesday.
Tuesday. It's a big day.
Thank you. That was an incredibly good answer.
Thank you. It's a very good question.
People should listen to that answer. Rewind that and listen to what she said like 3 times, because there was a lot to that.
Yeah, it's concentrated. Like I like have, something that is pulling in for, especially like the boundary one, because that is the most confusing thing for people, I think, when it comes to boundaries, is that, well, I'm telling him what I want and he's not doing it. And it's like, no. It's not about what you're telling him to do. You're telling him what you're going to do if he does this, right? It's a very different thing. Or she does this, or they do, whatever it might be, and what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. And it can be done in the most loving and beautiful way. And it can definitely be with your clients. That has to be a big key. I mean, simple things can, I have an example really quick. I had somebody that I just happened to have I felt the draw to help somebody outside of our office hours. And then I reestablished my boundary immediately after. I said, since you're new, I want you to know that I care about you and I want you to be happy and I want you to feel served here. But I cannot say I will be able to do this. And these are my typical office hours. Immediately came back with, thank you so much for doing this right now. I will be sure to make sure that I contact you only during business hours. And I just reestablished it. It's okay to reestablish a boundary too.
Absolutely.
It's also good.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you shared that example, because sometimes boundaries, it's sort of seen as this dirty word, and it's not. Right? Like I said, it can be the most loving thing. And like you're talking about, Kyra, it can be done in such a kind way. It can be a demonstration of, we care about you. I need to kind of uphold these so that I can serve you well. Yeah, I love that.
So well said, and preaching to the choir, but I'll mention it anyway. Boundaries for me comes from having been a people pleaser. So it's usually difficult to establish boundaries if you've had issues with them, right? Like if you're a people pleaser, or or whatever. I can't think of any other examples, but if you have an issue, well, then you're going to it's going to be tougher for you to speak to it with other people. Is basically what we're coming down to. So when you heal something in yourself, then it's easy to enforce for other people, right? I don't have any of those problems anymore. So, and I've been able to speak to them, right? And so has Kyra. She has it mastered now. So she can lovingly say it much better, right? So she can lovingly say what she needs to say to a client, and the client can respect her for it. You know, when we, depending on where you come from, right, or what your issues are, maybe it starts out being a little bit more messy, which is fine, or it comes out and then we start putting our boundaries out, and we do it a little bit more forcefully, and then we grow a bit more and mature, and then we can do it lovingly because we're not fighting within ourselves, right? We've mastered more of our internal boundaries, and it's when we're not fighting within ourselves anymore, when we're at peace with what we know we need to do with our own boundaries, for example, then it's easy to be compassionate as we set them with other people, and they can respect them too, right? And Sally would be able to speak to this better, but you know, when we're at war with something that isn't resolved in us, we're anticipating that we're going to get negativity from other people just because we have it unresolved in us, right? So that's why we're pleasing them. We're afraid it's not what we're going to say is not going to be acceptable, or we're going to lose their love, or we're going to lose their approval, right? And that's why we don't do those things. Fear of abandonment, essentially.
Yeah.
So the fact that that's why people pleasers are the way they are, and we all have it to some degree. You know, the question is it does it need to be dialed down, or is it at an acceptable level? You know,
right.
But we're all works in progress. You know.
So incredibly astute to kind of describe just that whole relationship, right? I have a friend and colleague who talks about our work is our medicine, right? As we grapple with the pieces in our work, that's also what we're bringing to the world to heal the world. And I think you're speaking to that so well with just this experience, and I think also observation. If we're struggling with something, we often forget to bring compassion to that and to bring curiosity to it. But what a beautiful invitation to now, as you guys were saying as we got started, level ourselves up. And what a beautiful way to do it with firm but loving and caring boundaries, including with ourselves. Love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is it me now? I asked Sally.
Yes.
All right, Sally, let's see. With your background in both traditional psychology and holistic practices, you're in a great position to understand how the book will speak to the holistic business community. What aspect of this book do you think will resonate the most with holistic business owners?
Thank you, Kyra. And I think, this is something we were touching on quite a bit as we've been talking so far tonight, but great segue. I'm sorry. Our last couple of comments were a great segue into this question. So I want to start with the identity shifts and the internal roller coaster, and also just there being an invitation in that to grow into a version of ourselves that maybe we hadn't come across before. That's the thing that really stood out to me with the idea of I never imagined all of the pieces of growth that would have come about, or being able to talk to other colleagues about what it's like to step into this world of not only a clinician or a practitioner, but also now CEO, business owner. There's an identity shift that comes with that we don't often have the words for. We can't really conceptualize, but it becomes an invitation for us. I think also just that sense of that fear of visibility, the wish to practice from a heart-centered space, that internal battle like we've been talking about, but especially that battle within ourselves of that imposter, right? That sense of feeling like, who am I to take this on? Who am I to be offering this? Or I don't know what I'm talking about, right? And with all of that, there's this opportunity to now do the inner work, but then there's sort of this teeter-totter of, is it okay if I do the work? Does it mean that, I don't have what it takes to do this? So I think that internal, just that roller coaster, but what an exhilarating one, where now we're sort of growing into ourselves, and the identity shifts that come with that. And my wish is for every HBO out there to kind of pause and take notice of those moment to moment shifts, and take notice from that bird's eye view of how far they've come to, first of all, make the decision to step into this work as a primary means of contributing. And with that, I think that double-headed arrow, I often give the imagery of double-headed arrows, of wanting to contribute and serve, being something that aligns instead of clashes with our financial stability. Where when we have that sense of stability, we're able to attain even more abilities to impact, versus I have to pick one or the other. And the more that we're aligned with what feels congruent for us, the more we're able to kind of bring that stability and security. And so it starts to cycle on itself. I think also the last piece, just sort of a more practical one, was this answered wish, Kyra, for a clear roadmap of like actionable items, right? Because sometimes we're sort of immersed in that inner work. Sometimes we're sort of overwhelmed with, all right, I have all of these things to do, this huge to-do list, and I have to grow this much in the next half hour in my business, right? So where do I begin? What do I do? Okay, well, here's how you get going. And here are the pieces in a very actionable way. I think that'll really resonate well for holistic business owners. Readers would benefit strongly from that as well.
Good.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I just want to shout out to Rena because she did find us.
Hi, Rena.
That's excellent, and that is definitely what this book gives to HBOs, is those step-by-step things. Also, P.S., by the way, I love geometry. That was my favorite subject in school. And
awesome.
The congruent symbol was my favorite symbol because it just looks like two wavy lines, and then not congruent, you just go through the two congruent lines. And so I annotate that in my notes and stuff, and I'm like, they're not congruent. There's, when I was doing more individual work with clients and stuff, I would go, they didn't mean what they said there.
Love that. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, or they are congruent. Yeah.
Oh, that's what that means when I've seen your notes. Okay.
Yeah. It's like, what is going on?
You're more articulate with it than I am, Kyra, because I think of it as wiggles.
Wiggles? Yeah, same. I love it. Okay, let's see. I think the next question is for Todd. Todd, you've written this book with clear vision of helping holistic business owners grow. What excites you the most about the impact this book could have on someone's business journey?
Well, Kyra and I wanted to write a book that was specifically designed for holistic and spiritual business owners. Acknowledging their strengths and challenges. And while there are a lot of great business books out there that have been helpful to me in many ways, most of them do not speak directly to HBOs and their challenges. It's like the previous books that we published to help HBOs build their businesses. Butts and Seeds 2 takes the deepest dive out of all of them into the business elements that are truly going to benefit them, even if they're new to business. And if you're not sure, we've got Needing versus Leading. That's one of our previous books. The first Butts and Seeds book, Butts and Seeds 2, and Selling Emotionally Transformative Services. And frankly, I would, if you're going to buy them all, I would read them in this order: Butts and Seeds 2, selling emotionally transformative services, and then needing versus leading last, because that's the most advanced of the four of them after you've got a tribe that you're kind of managing. But anyway, what excites me most is that we've created this resource. This is my passion, is creating these resources for this entire crowd of holistic and spiritual people that are a lot of times not addressed with when we go out looking for resources, right? They only feel like they kind of half fit sometimes, right? Now, granted, there's probably a lot more we could do to apply the things that we've learned, but it's also nice to really, I wanted to really give a resource to people to make them feel seen in the challenges that they actually do have, while giving them achievable things that they could also do. So not every HBO wants to make money from their business, and not every HBO wants to build a business that can support themselves and their families. But if they do, Butts and Seeds 2 provides that detailed roadmap for how to make that happen, as long as they're willing to put in the work, right? Yes, there is work involved if you want to achieve success. But the good news is with Butts and Seeds 2, it is so robust. There is far less guesswork than ever before. Kyra and I have tackled most of the challenges that HBO has faced. We've put into print the challenges that we've experienced and the solutions that we've found. And they are specifically tailored for people who have similar mindsets, right? Holistic and spiritual business owners. So for those who want to build a business, this book, I believe that this book shifts the whole narrative up until now for HBOs. It's no longer, I don't know what to do as a holistic or spiritual business owner. I've got a unique business. I'm not sure how to market it. That narrative has shifted with this book. Now it's, you do know what to do. You know, it's right here. It's right in here. I've covered it. We have covered it pretty thoroughly, right? It may not be perfect, but it's pretty thorough. You know what to do. Are you willing to do it? And if you're not yet willing to do it, but you want to get there, this book still will help you to understand what's holding you back and how to move past it. So that's the kind of resource we wanted to create for people. And like I said, not every HBO wants to build a business that fully supports them financially. Some are just looking for a couple of new clients per month, and that is perfectly okay. If you apply just a few ideas from Butts and Seeds 2, you'll get those clients. So what excites me, Kyra, to answer your question, I'm excited about giving HBOs another way to succeed if they are willing to embrace it.
Love it. Perfect.
Awesome. I love that choice really stands out in that, right? The choice of taking, like maybe I don't want to go all in, but now I understand what it would take for me to kind of be more in. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
And it's not, it's like, how do we eat an elephant one bite at a time? Don't feel like you have to consume every bit of it and do it all. I even said, if somebody just puts 2 or 3 of these things, implements 2 or 3 of these things, they're going to see a massive shift in their business growth. Yeah.
And that's why I harped on consistency early on, is because a lot of the time you're not going to know what to do. So you just have to keep taking steps, even when you don't know what to do. And sometimes the easiest thing to do when you don't yet have that roadmap is to keep doing the things that you know are going to put you in a better position to know what to do, like reading books, reading this book, going to your networking meetings on a regular basis. Keep talking to people who know more than you, right? And how do you figure that out? You just talk to them and you find out if they know more than you, right? And if they have something to contribute and you contribute back, you just keep surrounding yourself. I'm sure we've all heard the quote, surround yourself, the 5 people you hang out with the most is probably who you're most like, or you're probably going to have similar levels of success, things like that. There's a lot of quotes that say the same thing, essentially, about you're going to be most similar to the people you hang out with. So are you hanging out with people that are helping you to level up the way you want to level up? Are they friends and perhaps like business owners who can set the example for you, who set a positive example for where you can go in your business? Are they friends that hold you up and, respect you and love you and things like that, right? As opposed to people who don't do that. And what kind of effect does that have on you long term,
Yeah.
right? So it matters how we pay attention to where we put our attention, rather.
Yes.
Any rate, I think Sally?
Yeah. So with that, Kyra,
Yes.
as someone who has seen the long-term benefits of networking and business strategy, how do you hope this book will change the way holistic business owners approach their work in the next 5 years?
Well, I really hope that they take it seriously, and not seriously in a bad way. Like I've got a, but taking themselves, maybe seriously isn't the right word. Considering themselves as professionals, considering themselves as valid and valuable and useful, and that kind of thing, and kind of getting away a little bit more from that. Even though in some cases this works very well with people, it just depends on what their goals are and what they want. Knowing what your goals are is key. But those people who are committed and want to use this as an income source, they're wanting to, change professions. They want to go do this full time, and they're really wanting to commit to this work. And I think that with networking, it really helps people to commit in a very unique and very special way. They're able to really say who they are, what they offer, how they benefit, and what they're bringing to the table. And, we often say, and, there are ways to work with every kind of group. So if you have you're a holistic business owner, and then you are networking, or you belong to a networking group that's like a holistic chamber or a holistic thing, or a spiritual group or whatever, and you think there's no way to get referrals from those people. That's not necessarily true, right? Because everybody has like different specialties and different things that they work on, and you get really clear. I remember I was doing some work with a holistic chamber, and I was like, I do not do stopping smoking and weight loss. And, a couple hands came up and said, I do, and I do it with auricular therapy, and I do it with meditation and mindfulness, and I do it with, a detoxing with chelation. And it's like, perfect. Now I know you guys, and when they come to me, I can send them to you, because I just don't do that. So really honing in some ways on your specialties, so you know exactly how to speak to it. And it's something that a lot of people work with. And then knowing the opposite, so that you can be a referral partner to someone else. And so that really grows and expands it. But I think the thing is that in 5 years from now, if you are still sitting at home and nothing's happening, and nobody's beating down your door, and the universe hasn't, suddenly given you, 15 or 20 clients a week, then I would say you did something along the way that didn't promote your goal of having 15 or 20 clients a week, and so be honest with yourself, be in integrity, and say, this is working, this is not working. What am I focused on? What are the 5 people that I'm around? That was the biggest mindset shift for me. I just want to piggyback on Todd's there. The biggest mindset shift for me was answering that question. And by the way, your 5 people that you're around the most do not have to be living. They do not have to be somebody that is in your life right now. They could be somebody that you look up to, and you listen to all their books or their tapes or their, whatever. Wayne Dyer, I counted him as one of my 5. And that helped me, to keep that activity, that energy. So I would listen to his tapes and his things. John Maxwell, I've been listening to a lot of John Maxwell lately. I've been listening to the I Am discourses lately. So what we put in is counted as one of those, 5, because that is what's going to be coming out. And so I think I may have answered the question. And if I didn't, that's okay. But I think that if you do a few of these networking ideas, you're going to get ahead in the next 5 years, for sure.
I think you answered that beautifully. And I think especially highlighting, our relationship with ourself here, right? Whether it's we're getting in our own way and we don't really think about how will this impact me 5 years from now, or even we are one of those 5 people, right? So how are we interacting with ourselves? And I love the reminder that they do not have to be living people. They don't have to be local people to us either, right? You guys can be 2 of those 5.
Yes, of course. Yes, that's right. That's so sweet. And then we have one last question, I think. And let's just look at Rena's comment here. There's a lot here. I'm finding interesting reading. What I'm finding interesting reading is that I grew up in my father's printing business from cradle to grave from when I was little through high school. All of my siblings, I'm the one that grew up with premonition, psychic ability, seeing auras, and in my 30s tried to seek out a spiritual guide. I had to turn off my gifts because I began to see too much. Yeah, during the pandemic, I started taking classes and learning to use my gift. Again, 25 years later, the book is putting pieces together for me, and I can see the difference. As I think that's maybe she was finishing it. I think it might have cut her off there. So thank you, Rena, for that.
That's really beautiful, Rena. Thank you.
Todd, one last question. You ready?
Can I piggyback on something you said?
Yes.
We play a lot of leapfrog. We're always piggybacking. I wasn't going to say this because I was cutting it for time, but because Kyra said it anyway, I'm going to add it back in. And that is, keep feeding yourself good things, right? Read or listen to audiobooks on business and positive thinking. Butts and Seeds 2 and all of our business books, I'm happy to say, are going to be available on Amazon Audible on launch day. Yay!
Awesome.
So for anyone who wants to purchase them, they will be there. You do not have to purchase them to do the review. It's a completely separate thing, right? So the Audible thing is separate. If you want to listen to the books, you can listen and buy them. That's fine. But on launch day, all we need you to do is download the free ebook and then post your review. That's all. But audiobooks in general, super easy to listen to pretty much anywhere these days. I mean, you can, like Kyra was saying, you can also listen to business book classics on YouTube for free, like Napoleon Hill and Dale Carnegie, and even some contemporary authors like Wayne Dyer. But the key is to keep feeding your mind with good things, especially when you're taking this business path, right? Because you're the leader for your business. So you decide what goes in there in your mind, in your head. I think sometimes people get they just forget that, and we become susceptible to letting the world program us. But as an HBO, we have to be different, right? You came here to make a difference in people's lives. That's not just having talent with your craft, but it's a commitment to leveling up your mind and saturating yourself with positive material and things that help you to grow, right? When I'm walking into we have a grocery store really close by. When I'm walking to the grocery store, I'm always listening to an audiobook, or if I'm doing it chores at home, or even in the shower, I'm listening to an audiobook. I've got one of those little sticky things that goes on the shower wall. So
5 and below, baby. 5 and below.
I'm always listening to something positive, and I've got dozens of audiobooks on a playlist from YouTube. Whatever I'm in the mood for, I'm listening to something, whether it's an audiobook about life or business or spirituality or meditation or whatever. As long as I'm in the mood for it and I don't need quiet, I am programming myself with something good. And you would not believe what kind of difference that makes in terms of my mind just working for me as opposed to working against me, because it is just doing such a better job serving me. And because of what I'm programming it with, essentially. I mean, I'm so much more productive. So exercise your choice. And to agree with Kyra, exercise your choice about what you put in your head. And you'll find that the things that you do put in there they bear fruit. And that makes your walk into business less difficult. It makes it more easy. It makes it feel more achievable. And the next thing you know, you're taking steps you need to take without even having to do that, what you thought was going to be an arduous process with it, right? Because you've got these great people telling you positive things and things that are helping to develop you while you're doing them. So it only seems hard at the very beginning when you haven't done anything yet to level yourself up. But as you're leveling yourself up mentally and investing in yourself, that walk becomes easier. It's like the grade of that mountain. It's like the size of that elephant becomes smaller. The grade of the mountain becomes less steep, right? And you can look at that elephant and say, yeah, you got to eat it, but maybe I'm not as hungry as I thought I was.
It looks more manageable.
Maybe this looks more manageable, right? I think I can eat that. It's like an eating competition. I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to emphasize I worked really hard today.
Yeah.
I just wanted to emphasize I agree with Kyra and put the good stuff in, right? If you have a choice, so we all have a choice to where we're going to direct our attention. Do it vigilantly, right? And you'll see that it produces a lot of rewards, making your daily path that much more achievable and easy. So it's really helpful.
I want to say Jeffrey Gitomer, one of the best networking books I've read, other than Butts and Seats too, is I think it's either called the Little Red Book of Networking, but it's by Jeffrey Gitomer. Pardon me?
The Little Red Book of Connections, I think.
Little Red Book of Connections, that's right. And it really deep dives into how to build meaningful connections with people, specifically with business, and how it can be completely heart-based, not smarmy, not markety, not icky, but he's not technically a loving, it's not lovey-dovey, right? We don't want to get confused here. It's grounded, it's heart-based, it's clear, and it has a lot of integrity. And so that's, I think, is the most important thing, especially for the helping services, so I just wanted to put that out there before I had anything. Sally, did you have anything on what was said?
Thank you. I think especially that description just now where it doesn't have to be warm and fuzzy and, dripping with molasses to be
gooey.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be that way to be something that aligns for you. But, Todd, you talked about like just listening and what we're feeding ourselves, how impactful that is and how surprising that impact is for us. I just wanted to add that on a daily basis, we have 70 to 90,000 thoughts. And there's no way that any one of us are keeping up with all of that. I don't care what kind of superhuman characteristics you have. You're not keeping up with that, but we're still impacted by it, right? And at that degree, most of those are not original. They're things that we're constantly saying to ourselves again and again and again, to your point about programming. And so we can be intentional about that. And what it does is it allows us to come in from the thin end of the wedge, right? And so we can stay more consistent much more easily. So thank you for pointing that out. I have one of those sticky things too for the shower. I'm guilty of that too.
Yeah. I've never heard the expression thin end of the wedge. I've never heard that before. I love that. I'm going to start. Yeah, girl, I'm coming at this in the thin end of the wedge, baby.
Yes. Much easier to come in and then you're there.
That's right. It's way
I love
easier.
I haven't heard it either, but I mean, it's logical if you think about it. If you're having one of those days, you get yourself a nice big block of cheese. What end are you going to bite out of? The
Exactly.
thin end of the wedge.
Exactly.
You've obviously never seen me eat a block of cheese, Todd. All right. Final question. Todd, this book aims to transform the way holistic business owners operate. What kind of transformation do you want people to experience after they read this book and start implementing the strategies?
Kyra, I'm glad you asked that. And this ties into other things that we've said tonight. I want people to know that with action comes confidence, right? From consistently acting comes confidence. And that business is really about doing more and more of the right things for long enough to produce returns. That's why consistency is so important, because returns don't always come immediately, right? You're always making an investment. The question is, where are you making that investment with your time and your energy, right? Which we just spoke to just a couple minutes ago. If you keep running into hangups when trying to level up, whether it's from personal limitations or business inexperience, get a coach. It's really easy, coach with me, coach with Kyra, coach with Sally, but stay in action, right? Getting a coach doesn't mean you have to become a different person or stuff yourself into a box or a square peg round hole situation. It just means getting expert guidance and accountability for your actions if you're needing it in order to continue taking the steps. We've had coaches all along the way in different aspects. And a lot of times, the more advanced you get in business, the more likelihood you're going to have specialized coaches who work with you on specific things as your business demands it once you grow. But that's not an issue that we cover until you probably have implemented most of these things already. So don't worry about that. But you might want to have an accountability partner, or whether it's a life coach or a business coach, to help guide you and to keep you accountable until you can practice self-leadership and self-responsibility on a regular basis and a consistent enough basis to where you're not going to derail yourself or self-sabotage, and that you can weather storms and that you can consistently grow as you're taking these steps, not just staying at status quo, but actually consistently growing, right? So you can still do things your way and on your timeline and in alignment with your energy and how you like to do things, but just don't stop. Don't stop taking action. All right. Next point, remember that clients, they don't buy a holistic session per se from you. They buy practitioners who can lead them to outcomes, right? So especially if you're a coach or if you work with someone on a mental, emotional level, Butts and Seats 2 is about equipping you to be that person for your clients, especially the earlier chapters, someone they trust to guide them for your success. Your credentials absolutely matter, but your ability to help clients achieve their goals is always going to matter more. So that's why we spent a lot of time talking about owning what you do and committing to putting that into action. That's a theme in all of our books. It's a theme in Butts and Seats 2. It's been a theme in this conversation. You have to practice owning what you do, and you can do it right now, and you can do it early, and you can do it just by deciding to go to your first networking meeting can be you exercising, owning what you do, and just showing up and saying, hey, I'm brand new. I'm a hypnotherapist. Tell me what to do. Yeah. So in essence, I want holistic business owners to feel empowered. I want them to feel empowered with clear, actionable steps. One thing I love doing is eliminating the disillusionment around certain topics, right? And as much to the best of my ability, for what it's worth, because some people feel like there's a fog to business, especially if they are more spiritually bent. And it's like, well, how do I talk to my people about what I do? How do I sell this, right? Or where are my people at, right? So helping HBOs with this book to feel to give them clear, actionable steps to take that guesswork out of creating a sustainable business is what my goal was, what our goal was, me and Kyra. So whether HBOs want to attract a few more clients or turn their side hustle into their main source of income, which is a pretty ambitious goal, right? For HBOs, I want them to see tangible results, and I want them to feel in control of their business growth. And ultimately, the goal is for them to just be inspired and taking purposeful, effective action that's going to lead to long-term success, all while staying true to their hearts and values, right? I did a lot of extra work to make this book as congruent as possible with our we are so unwilling to have any values violated. I mean, we just will not do it. There are so many things HBOs and spiritual people will not do if they feel that it violates their stuff. I am aware of that. I am that person too. So if we weren't that person, I wouldn't have to write any of this stuff. I just direct you to any other business book, which is helpful, but it may hit you the wrong way sometimes, right? Not to criticize those books, but like I said, they don't necessarily address HBOs. Right. Whereas these books, a lot of care has been put into helping you to see that it's good. Money's not bad, and you should own what you do, and have a service attitude. And it's okay to provide for your own needs, right? It's okay to ask for money, even if you have a job and you're trying to build your business. Yeah, all those things are okay. Like, those are beliefs that we have to get over, right? And we have to also network. We also have to put ourselves out there. We also have to take at least some of those other steps, maybe not all of the traditional steps, but some of the traditional steps, and start treating ourselves like any other business owner would treat themselves and how they would show up, right? Getting out of our niches and into these other business groups. Like I said in our last interview from last week, one of the biggest major takeaways from this book that'll give you the best bang for your buck is diversifying your referral base. And that is getting out of the holistic circles. I know they're great for some things, but in my experience, spend more time outside them and get into other networking groups like you'll read in here. We spend a lot of time on BNI and other things because the returns are so huge, and it'll teach you how to be a business owner, in a completely different context, in a much more professional context. You'll start owning what you do a lot better by how you show up in those things. And I think Kyra has been able to speak to that already. So that's it. I'll stop right there because I could keep going on and on. I feel like I've been going on. So that's my answer. Did I answer the question, Kyra?
Yeah.
Answered,
heard, received, and answered. Yep.
Yeah.
And I think your enthusiasm really, it's passion isn't the right word. Enthusiasm isn't the right word, because they're not capturing that experiential quality as much as I want to, and that's a big part of what stands out. How much of, the thoughtfulness of not only my perspective, my experience, our experience together, but what I've come to understand and see within the community, and really honing in on what those needs are. So answered beautifully.
Thank you. And it gets exciting when you do that. I mean, once you answer a couple of these questions, it gets to be quite a rush, So, that's how passion works. You just go faster and faster. I knew I didn't need to drink that extra cup of coffee this morning, but I did anyway, knowing that I would go a little bit faster tonight. But I really believe in HBOs, and they have incredible talent, and the ones who step out put themselves in position to help more people. right? And they put themselves in position to be profitable themselves. And wow, wouldn't it be really cool if I could do this and not have to do that other thing anymore, right? That's what these books are about. So where are we?
We are done with our questions. We are more than 20 minutes over.
Oh, okay.
But I think it was so valuable, and everything that was said is so useful. And I hope that those listening, whether you're doing a replay, and if you want to hit that hashtag replay, that would be awesome. Just to let us know that you're seeing it. And there's just, this book is concentrated. It is packed. So, like I said before, just do one or two things. You are going to create improvement within your company, within your business.
Thank you. Sally, do you have any closing comments?
I just wanted to highlight like a big piece here that we're seeing. And actually, I want to give a reframe, Kyra, for 20 minutes over. We're just offering 20 minutes bonus.
Oh, 20 minutes bonus.
Exactly. Bonus. But, a word that keeps coming to mind as we're talking is just the vulnerability embedded in, one, being a business owner, and two, the courage and vulnerability it takes to be just a spiritual practitioner and being open about that. But then the two together, right? And so we're speaking to that in so many different ways. And also the vulnerability here of, you know what? Maybe I want to reach for a resource that can be valuable. And of course, my fur baby here agrees. And, one of the antidotes to that sense of vulnerability, again, is sort of owning it and committing to that compassion space with it, right? And I think that's kind of the loud note that I'm sort of left with, especially talking about the different components today, having to do with confidence, with boundaries, with networking, and that idea of growing into our whole selves, right? That next level. So thank you guys for the courage that it took to figure things out as you did, but also to be a voice and a safe resource and space for other HBOs.
Thank you, Sally. Feels like a lullaby, let me tell you.
Yeah. And thank you for writing the foreword for the book.
Oh, it was such an honor. I was so delighted to do that. Thank you guys for the invitation for that. It was so much my pleasure.
Yeah. You did amazing. And I wanted to say thank you.
My absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
I had wonderful things to work with.
Oh, you're so sweet.
That's what I said. She's sweet. Y'all, everybody who's watching or watching this later, aren't these ladies amazing? These are some pretty amazing ladies and comments here. And like I said before, after a couple of interviews, it gets to be quite a rush. So, and if you do want to see the previous two interviews with Kyra and Sally, we did one a couple of weeks ago with Sally, and it is available at our As You Write group. I'll put that comment in the, I'll put that link in the comments too, because we talk a lot more about holistic business ownership and how it relates to, other things we talked about tonight. Go ahead.
And I've got up on the screen, drsallinazari.com/serenity. So that's a program that she's offering. And in addition, she has got a 15% off code. BUTS2 is the code you want to use there. It's not cap sensitive, she says. So again, you've got that information up there. I've put it out there in the comments and things. And Dr. Sally, please feel free to share this with your folks as well, and let them know different things. So awesome. What else do we want to leave our friends with, Todd?
Yeah. BUTS2 feels so official. I feel like we're going viral, like it's catching on. As we wrap it up, I want to ask you something. I want to ask the viewer something. This is for all the HBOs watching now and in the future. What kind of difference do you want to make in your business and in your life, right? Here's what I know for sure. You have got something. You've got something special. Yeah, you know who I'm talking to. Has anyone ever told you that? You've got something.
Got something.
You already know that you have intuitive gifts, you have natural gifts, and but you might not be realizing that your intuition can actually guide you in your business as well. Yes, there are absolutely business skills that you're going to have to learn along the way, right? But a lot of what you need is already inside you. Your intuition, it's your foundation, it's your strength, and it's where your leadership begins as you start taking these very first steps. And here's the thing, who you are right now is enough. Okay? And what you have right now, it's enough to get started. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. Okay. You can start with what you have. You just keep developing and lean into the strengths that come naturally to you. Okay. Start with what you've got and build from there. Okay. Keep leaning into those areas where you naturally shine. You know what they are. And let that be the springboard for your confidence and your leadership, right? And that'll propel you forward as you keep taking steps, and you'll eventually start generating confidence doing other things too. So trust yourself, trust what you bring to the table, and as you grow your business skills, keep cultivating what's already within you and watch how it transforms your business and your life, okay? So, in closing, I want to thank my beautiful wife and co-author, Kyra Schaefer. Yay!
Me! Hey, me!
Kyra, without your leadership, our 4 best-selling business books that we published would not exist. And
Thanks, honey.
You're welcome. They're all right here. And Dr. Sally, if I could reach through the screen, I'd squeeze you with a big hug. Thank you for being the example that you are. Thank you so much for joining us. Your forward was amazing, and your insights tonight were like off the chain, profound, and just so much value for people. You're just a wonderful demonstrator of someone who owns what you do and lives in integrity in your business. So if you're watching, please visit Dr. Sally's website at drsallynazari.com, as well as the other link that Kyra just posted on the screen. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask Sally to please hang back in the green room, and we'll touch base with you after we go off the air. Okay.
Sounds good. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Sally. So,
Todd, how amazing.
Kyra, how amazing. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Hey.
What's happening? Something's happening. Hey!
So good.
We know so good.
So good.
We're so good.
So good.
Final reminders, signed author copies are available now if you want one. The links are plastered everywhere. I can put one in the group again. Kyra, can you do that? I can do that. I'll put a link to that again. Book launch day is coming Tuesday, September 17th. That is just a few days around the corner. Remember, you must download the free ebook on Amazon to establish a verified purchase before posting your Amazon review. We will provide the link for where to do this on September 17th. Okay. I'll be plastering it everywhere, so you can't miss it. All right. Just download it and then post your review on September 17th. And Butts and Seats 2, like I said, will be available for purchase on Audible as an audiobook starting on launch day. And that's super exciting too. And that's about it, Kyra.
All right. Sounds good. Yep. Great job.
All right. Thanks for staying with us. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining, everyone. And we will see you on launch day.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Bye.
Bye.